Good morning, students. Welcome back to my 14th lecture of Module 5 of your subject code C701, Water Treatment Part 3. In continuation of my 13th lecture, that is the sedimentation tank preliminary problem we are discussing. Now, in continuation of that sedimentation tank design, since it is a very big chapter, so still will be continuing a part of this in this lecture, that is the 14th lecture. Now, let me discuss a typical problem, some type of different from that one which was discussed in the 13th lecture. A water treatment plant has 4 clarifiers. That means the 4 units are there, 4 tanks are there, and total is 0.18 meter cube per second. That means the 4 units are treating 0.18 meter cube per second of water. Each clarifier is 5 meter wide, size is given, length is given, that is the 25-meter long, 5-meter deep, that is the depth is given. Now determine the detention time, the overflow rate, the horizontal velocity, wear loading rate, assuming the wear length of 2.5 times the basin width. Now how to tackle with this problem? First of all, very beginning I have said the 4 clarifiers are there. So each clarifier discharge is 0.045 divided, each clarifier's discharge is 0.18 divided by 4. Because the 4 units discharge is 0.18, so 1 unit discharge will be simply 0.18 divided by 4. So per unit, because we are going to find out the detention time, overflow rate, horizontal velocity per unit clarifier. So total quantity of the discharge you have to divide by 4 and you have to find out in each unit, that is in each clarifier, the in terms of meter cube per hour it is in terms of meter cube per second it is 0.045 meter cube per second, and in terms of meter cube per day it is 388 meter cube per day. Now what is detention time? Repeatedly I have told you in my earlier lecture, that is the 13th lecture, the detention time means the volume by Q. Repeatedly I have told you. So this is the basic thing you have to keep in memory. Volume by discharge is the detention time. That means how the time during which the tank can detain the liquid. So that's why it is a detention time. So volume means it is given that 5 meter wide, so 5 into 25 meter length into 4.6 meter deep, that is also given. That is also given from it is seen that just a minute. Yes, you see 4.6. So the we seen that 5 meter 2.5 and 25 5 and 4.6. So volume is given. So numerator is known to us. What is Q? Q is the discharge 162 that we have given, that we have got dividing by 4, the total discharge that we have got. So ultimately what you have got, the detention time is 3.55 hour. So that is the portion, one portion answer is found out. What is the detention time? Simply divided volume divided by the discharge is the detention time that we have learned in last lecture. Now overflow rate, this is nothing but the settling velocity, I mean to say the critical settling velocity Vs. Overflow rate, it is nothing but the critical settling velocity, the another term I can tell you. What is this? As it is the vertical velocity, so it will depend on the perpendicular to the vertical velocity is B into L, that is the plan area, that is the breadth into L. So velocity we know, the discharge by area. So in this case, which area I will consider? Now overflow rate means the settling velocity means we are talking for the vertical velocity. That means vertical flow has to be taken into consideration. So we have to take the vertical flow velocity. If we consider what is the normal area of that velocity, it is the plan area, that is BL. So you have to keep in memory in that way. You have to apply your logic. So Q by BL will be the overflow rate. That is Q is already found out 3,888 meter cube per day. B is given in the question. L is given in the question. So ultimately it is found out that the V0 is 31 point meter cube per meter square per day. Okay. Now horizontal velocity. Horizontal velocity means the velocity with which the water enters into the tank. That is the horizontal velocity. That means if we again I can apply that logic. If we talk for the horizontal velocity, then the perpendicular area to that velocity is the perpendicular plane. It is nothing but the breadth and height. So in that case, when we will apply by Q by A, their area, that is the A, it will be B into H. What is B? B is the breadth and H is the height. So that B into H has to be taken because the perpendicular to the horizontal velocity is the vertical plane. So you have to take in this case by B into H. So it will be found out B into H is given in the question. B is 5 meter, H is 4.6 meter, and Q we have found out initially. So you can get the horizontal velocity. So the three answer A, B, C is found out. Now the wear loading. What is the wear loading? Now wear loading is, it is simply discharge divided by width of the wear, and the width of the wear, length of the wear. Length of the wear, it is given in the question that 2.5 times the basin width. That means basin width is 5 meter. So 2.5 times of 5 means 12.5. So wear length is 12.5. So if we divide the discharge by the wear length 12.5 meter, then we will get the wear loading rate 311 meter cube per day per meter. So this is the thing which I have explained you. The four parameters you have to find out: detention time, overflow rate, horizontal velocity, wear loading load. Now, second problem I am going to show you, limiting particle size. This is a very interesting different type of problem that I will discuss. A plain sedimentation tank. A plain sedimentation tank. Just a minute. Let me. Yes, I think the total problem is seen from my screen. I'm just adjusting the zoom there. Yes. A plain sedimentation tank length is given 20 meter, width is given 10 meter, depth is given, that is the 3 meter. Now it is used in a water treatment plant which treats 4 million liter, that means 4 mld, 4 million liter per day, that means Q is given. Average temperature 20 degrees centigrade it is given, dynamic viscosity is given, and density of the water is given. Now the average specific gravity of the particle also given. Now what you have to find out? You have to find out the surface overflow rate. Surface overflow rate you have to find out, and the minimum diameter of the particle which can be removed with 100% efficiency in the above sedimentation tank. Fine. First of all, we know the surface loading rate vis-a-vis the critical velocity V0 Vs equal to is Q by BL. That means the discharge divided by plan area. Why plan area? Because the plan area BL is perpendicular to the vertical velocity. So I have told you the logic, the velocity which will be concerned, that perpendicular area you have to take. So in this case, since we are talking for the overflow rate, that is the settling velocity, so it is vertical velocity. So the perpendicular of the vertical velocity is the B into L you have to take. Now B is given in the question 10, L is given in the question 20, Q it is given because 4 million liter So you have to convert, and that Q by VL will give you the 20 meter cube per meter square per day. That is the overflow rate. That is one answer has been found out. Second, the critical settling velocity, that is the overflow rate. Again and again I am telling you, this is nothing but the overflow rate. That is the 20 meter per day. 20 meter cube per meter square per day is the same thing as 20 meter per day. And if you convert it in a second, it will be found out 2.315 into 10 to the power minus 4 meter per second. Now, Stokes law, as per the Stokes law, if it is in laminar flow, considering the laminar flow, we know the velocity Vs equal to rho Wg by 18 SS minus 1 by mu into d square. Now, the critical size diameter of particle can be estimated. Now, here in question, one thing has been told, because 100% efficiency, you have to find out the minimum particle of the diameter corresponding to the 100% efficiency. What does it mean? It means the critical velocity will be that Vs is nothing but the VO is nothing but the Vs, then only the 100% efficiency will be achieved. So Vs, which is given by the expression of the Stokes law, that is rho g by 18 SS minus 1 by mu into d square, that has to be equated with the overflow velocity vis-a-vis the critical settling velocity is equal to 2.315 into 10 to the power minus 4. Why I am equating these two velocity? Because in 100% efficiency, we know that the Vs is nothing but the critical velocity, settling velocity, that is VO or VC. So equating these two equations, we can easily find out the D, which is the unknown in the left hand side. So D equal to 0.016 millimeter. So this is the thing we have applied one concept that 100% efficiency VO vis-a-vis the VC is nothing but is equal to VS. So equating this, we have found out the diameter of the particle. Next, I am going to, I think that all the different problems have been highlighted regarding that sedimentation tank, the surface flow loading, overflow rate, settling velocity, critical settling velocity, horizontal velocity, detention time. These parameters, which are very important parameter to take the decision in the design of the tank, that has been discussed in details in various numerical problems in these lectures and the earlier lectures also. Now let us enter into the design of the sedimentation tank as per the CPHEEO manual. Now, CPHEEO manual, Central Public Health Environmental Engineering Organization, that is the CPHEEO. So that manual, one example I am showing you for giving a clear-cut idea about the process of the design. So it is given in the input parameter. A rectangular sedimentation tank, we are giving one example. Okay. So design a rectangular sedimentation tank. So we are talking for the rectangular sedimentation tank design. Now, the average overflow from sedimentation tank, that is giving 250 meter cube per hour. Water loss in desludging is 2%. Design average flow, that is given in question 255 1 meter cube per hour. Minimum size of the particle to be removed, that is also given. Expected removal efficiency, that is also given. Nature of particles, that is also given. Specific gravity of the particles is given. And performance of the settling tank, it is good, that means N equal to 1 by 4. Kinematic viscosity 20 degrees centigrade, it is given. Now, how to proceed the design of the sedimentation tank? Fine. Just we will follow, first of all, very basic thing. Again, I am going to recapitulate. I am going to just recapitulate to you to enter into the designing system. which already I have described. Still, I am going to recapitulate you so that you can just recapitulate those things which have been discussed. That the given the diameter and the specific gravity of the minimum size of the particle to be removed in the settling tank, particle settling velocity of the particle is calculated using the Stokes law. Every time, every problem that we have seen, the computed settling velocity is used to determine Reynolds number to check whether the Stokes law is applicable. Otherwise, if it is greater than 1, what will happen? Then we will follow the Huygens formula that I have also seen earlier. So, the formula first you have to check whether the applicable of the Stokes formula or the Huygens formula depending on the Reynolds number that you have to check. Second thing, the second aspect I am going to highlight to, the settling velocity calculated is employed for computation of the surface overflow rate for expected removal efficiency of minimum size of the particle and assumed performance of the settling basin. Alternatively, the surface overflow rate for average design flow may be assumed on the Messi's data on the table. From the table the data can be given. The plan area is determined next, followed by the tank dimension. The depth of the tank may be determined using the detention period, because we know the distance equal to velocity by time. Distance equal to velocity by time. So velocity is the settling velocity, time is the detention time, so depth of the tank can be found out. So this type of thing we have found out in earlier problem also, but I want to recapitulate those things which will be useful for designing the tank. So now we will proceed for the design steps. Now step 1, just follow the thing, design steps. Okay, I am just zooming the screen. I think it is visible to everybody. First of all, compute vertical settling velocity with the given data. G is given, SS is given, B is given, mu is given. So VS calculated 3.56. Then what we have to check? We have to check whether we will follow the Reynolds, whether we will follow the Stokes law or the Huygens formula. So for that, we have to check the Reynolds number. What is Reynolds number? Vd by nu. So V we have calculated just now. V is given, nu is given. It is found out that 0.704 is the Reynolds number. That means it is less than 1. It is less than 1. So it will be the application of the Stokes law is 100% valid over here. This is one type of check. Second, now overflow rate will consider. Now what is overflow rate? For 100% removal, we have seen that the Stokes law, that is Vs, which you have got, that will be equal to the overflow rate in case of 100% efficiency. So the V0 is Vs equal to 3.6 10 to the power minus 4, which has been obtained by Stokes law, which is nothing but 30.76 meter per day. However, due to short circuiting, there is reduction in efficiency and decrease in surface overflow rate. Yes, short circuiting is a phenomena where there is a reduction in efficiency and decrease in the surface overflow rate. So, to find out the design surface overflow rate, that formula we have to apply y by y0, that is the efficiency, equal to 1 minus 1 plus n into V0 by Q by A whole to the power minus 1 by N. Every value is given in the question. Y by 0 means efficiency 0.75, 75% is given. For good performance of tank, N value is given 0.25, that is 1 by 4. So we can find out V0 by Q by A. Now what is Q by A? Q by A is nothing but the design surface overflow rate at average design flow. So Q by A is V0 by 1.66, that is 18.53 meter per day. And generally, this Q by A, that is the surface overflow rating, is basically between 15 to 30 meter cube per meter square per day. So it is 18.53. So it is satisfying the range that we have to check. Next, the dimension of the tank, slowly, because this is the design of the tank, so you have to find out the dimension of the tank. So what is the surface? If you know the Q and if you know the Q by A, simply dividing the discharge divided by Q by A, so you will get the surface area of the tank, that is the base area, plan area of the tank. So Q it is given is 255.1, and Q by A it is we have found out by 18.53. So ultimately the surface area is nothing but the discharge divided by the overflow loading rate, that is Q by A, which will ultimately give you the area 330.4 square meter. Here one assumption you have to consider, that length is to breadth of the rectangular tank is 4. Again I repeat, the length is to breadth of rectangular tank is 4. That means L is equal to 4B. So what is the area? L into B is 4B square. So 4B square equal to 330.4. That means B equal to square root of 330.4 divided by 4. That is 9 meter. So length will be 4 times, that is 36 meter. Now you assume the detention time. Say 4 hours. Generally 4 to 6 hours is the detention time we are assuming in the designing of the sedimentation tank. Now what is the water depth? Distance. What is the distance? Distance is V by velocity by time, we know. Sorry, distance is velocity into time. Velocity is nothing by Q by A. So Q by A into time is the distance. Then Q you know. Detention time assumption you have taken for A you know. So you have to find out the water depth 3.09 meter. So you have found out L, B, H, all these things, that parameter of the tank you have found out. Okay. So this is a thing. Now last I am going to highlight you that you have to check one velocity, which so that velocity we have to check so that no critical displacement velocity should not be exceeded. That means what I am trying to tell you, that the horizontal flow velocity should be less than the critical displacement velocity. Why it has to be checked? Otherwise, the redeposition of the particles in the sludge zone will take place. What we have to check in the design? We have to check the horizontal flow velocity should be less than the critical displacement velocity. For that, the critical displacement velocity, we have to find out critical displacement velocity. What is the formula? Critical displacement velocity as per the CPHEU manual, V equal to 8K by F G SS minus 1 into D square root. That means K is given in the question, Weisbach Darcy factor, F is given, friction factor is given. So the critical displacement velocity has been calculated as 5.88 into 10 to the power minus 2 meter per second. What I am trying to say you, even after finalizing the design of the tank, all the size, depth, etc., the final check you have to make whether the horizontal velocity is less than the critical displacement velocity or not. Now the horizontal velocity is Q by Vd. Q you know, V you know, D you know. So horizontal velocity, again I am telling you what is horizontal velocity. You have to consider the perpendicular plane of horizontal velocity. That means the breadth into depth. I have always told you that the corresponding to the velocity you have to take the perpendicular plane. Here the perpendicular plane area is B into D. So the horizontal velocity you have calculated 2.52 into 10 to the power 2.52 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter per second. So which is given by, which is less than the critical displacement velocity, that is 5.88 meter per second. So okay. So even after finding out the all sides and size of the tank, you have to check whether the horizontal flow velocity is less than the critical displacement velocity or not. So this is a thing. Then we'll consider the more or less the sedimentation tank, that means the normal sedimentation tank is been covered. Now we'll discuss the next process. We have seen the screening, we have seen the aeration, we have seen the sedimentation, plain sedimentation that we have discussed. But in many conventional water treatment system, settling unit is combined with the flocculation unit named as clarifocculator. The coagulation and flocculation, the topic, that is also the sedimentation tank, but that is a post unit of that plain sedimentation tank, that is not normal sedimentation tank. So coagulation and flocculation, what is the physicochemical process in the water treatment process is followed, that I will discuss in details. This is very, very important in the water treatment process. Again, I am telling that coagulation, flocculation is a physicochemical process of the water treatment which is being followed after the plain sedimentation. Yes. Now, successive steps intended to overcome the forces stabilizing the finely suspended colloidal matter. First of all, I am just going you the problem which you are facing in the treatment. Why the coagulation flocculation? What is the significance of coagulation flocculation? Now, in water, there may be the very colloidal suspended particles which cannot be seen in naked eye, which can be seen by microscopes, and these are the negative charge particles. These cannot be settled easily under the force of gravity. So that is why the normal sedimentation, the plain sedimentation does not hold good for that colloidal suspended matter present in water, which are in floating suspended condition and never settles by the action of gravity. But it has to be removed. What to do? So that is why the significance of that coagulation flocculation comes. That is why the significance of the coagulation flocculation comes. Now, here in the schematic diagram, I am trying to explain you that coagulant means some chemical. You see, the chemical is adding, coagulant dosage added. And in the beaker, some impurities, water impurities are seen. And second, the coagulants from precipitate trapping impurities. What we are saying, the coagulant itself precipitate trapping the impurities. And finally, what you observe in the figure, that the precipitate and trapped impurities settle at bottom. All the impurities settle at bottom with the coagulant. Nothing is left in the suspension in water. That we are seeing in the figure. So this is the function of the coagulant. That means adding the coagulant. These coagulants are trapping the impurities, making the flux, and suspended at the bottom of the tank and clear the water. So this mechanism I have tried to show you in the figure. Now the particles in water, you have to identify the particles in water. Suppose as a civil engineer or environmental engineer, you must know the nature of the particles and how it work, because we are concerned about the removing the particles. So you have to have an idea about the nature of the particles, because our objective is to remove the particles from water. So suppose the particle size is less than 1 nanometer. Nanometer, my dear students, that means 1 nanometer is 10 to the power minus 6 millimeter. So if it is so that the particles are less than 10 to the power minus 6 millimeter, I can say if it is less than 1 nanometer in size, then it is in dissolved solids, electrically charged, and can interact with water. So they are completely stable and will never settle out of the water, because they are dissolved in water. So they cannot settle. So even not visible, even with the microscope also, they are so minute, because it is less than 1 nanometer, less than 10 to the 6 millimeter, even not visible through a microscope. So it is one category of the solids I am just giving you. Second category is the colloidal solids or non-settable solids between 1 to 1000 nanometer in size. 1000 nanometer means 10 to the minus 3 millimeter. So 1 to 10 to the power 3 nanometer in size. They also do not dissolve in water, although they are electrically charged. But still the particles so small that they will not settle in water and cannot be removed by filtration alone, can be seen with high powered microscope only. So the colloidal solids or non-settable solids that I have discussed. And the third one, the nature of the particles I want to describe, that is the suspended or settleable solids, which is greater than 1000 nanometer or greater than 10 to the minus 3 millimeter per size. So these are the suspended or settleable solids, because larger particles that can be seen through eyes. These can be seen through eyes. So these are usually supported by buoyant and viscous force in water and may settle in non-flowing water. Non-flowing means when the velocity is zero, stagnant water. Also, these can be removed by simple filtration. So we have three range of particles we have talked about. One is the one less than 1 nanometer, which cannot be seen even in the microscope. 1 to 1000 nanometer, which can be seen in the microscope, and greater than 1000 nanometer, which can be seen physically in naked eye and can be these solids are settleable. So these three categories are settleable solids. We have the suspended particulate matter we are talking about, and first two categories, that is the minus 1 nanometer and 1 to 1000 nanometer, that means the colloidal solid particles which are not easily settleable, or the dissolved solid particles which are not only settleable, that can be settled in the coagulation and floculations. So this is the thing. So settling behavior of the particle, that is also matters to be discussed. Very important, interesting, that I have to discuss with you everybody, because settling behavior of the particles, if I starting from the 10 millimeter, that is the biggest particle meter, and ended at the smallest particle matter, that is 1 nanometer. Let us put an example and how it settle, in what duration it settles. Let us give a clear idea about the settlement of that type of particle. 10 millimeter particle means, say the example is the gravel, and it takes 1 second to settle. Fine. 1 millimeter of the particle is a classic example is the sand. Here the 10 seconds time is taken for settling to 1 meter of water. Suppose if we take a beaker of 1 meter of water, then it will take 10 seconds to settle that sand particle of size 1 millimeter. This is like this. Say fine sand which is 0.1 millimeter, 2 minutes will settle. So the more we go for the lesser size of the particle, lesser will be the time. More will be the time of settling. Again, I repeat. As we go less in the size particle, more in the time taken for settling in the tank in 1 meter depth. So let us talk about the 10 micron diameter of the particle, that is the protozoa, algae, clay. So 2 hours will be taken. 1 micron particle, bacteria, algae, 8 days will be settled. 0.1 micron particle, further smaller particles, viruses, colloids, 2 years will be taken. 10 nanometer particle, we are taking virus colloids. Obviously, virus colloids 20 years will be taken. And if we take for 1 nanometer particle, that is the smallest in this example I can put, 200 years will be taken in settling in 1 meter. So I have given you an idea how the settling property varies with the sizes from bigger to smaller ones. So colloidal impurities in surface water cause water to appear turbid and may impart color because these are not easily settleable. As colloidal particles do not settle by gravity, they are difficult to separate from water to simply settling by filtration. The most common approach adopted to aggregate the colloids so that they grow in size and settle, which is only to the coagulation and flocculation. And that is the importance of the coagulation and flocculation process. This is called the physicochemical process. Again, I must add the thing. Exactly the what do you mean by the coagulation? Coagulation means basically the destabilization. That means the when we rapidly mixing, that means first of all we have to understand that the colloidal particle patterns are the very small negative charge particles and the repulsive forces acting between them. That means they are distance apart. They cannot come close to each other. That repulsing forces we are going to destabilize. That is called the coagulation. So coagulation means the rapid mixing. It is a physical operation. That is why it is a physicochemical process. Physical means rapid mixing. Rapid mixing has been taken place to overcome this repulsive force generated by this negative charge particle. That means the particles are being, the ions are being destabilized. So coagulation is nothing but the rapid mixing, which is the destabilization, because it reduces the forces acting to keep the particles apart after they contact with each other. Now, how it is being done? It is being done by rapid mixing and with chemical addition. Now, flocculation. What is flocculation? Because coagulation, flocculation are the two operations. One is the physical, another is the chemical. So, the combination of the two is a physico-chemical process. Now, what is flocculation? Flocculation means it is a process of bringing destabilized colloidal particles together to allow them to aggregate to a size where they will settle by gravity. We are adding the coagulants, that means the chemicals, and these chemicals will allow the particles to come to each other and they will form a flock, and under gravity this flock settle. This is the process of the flocculation, and it is happened in the slow mixing, flock growth, increased diameter. So you see, first the distance repulsive force, the coagulation flocculation basic theory in pictorial for diagram I am just showing you. That is, the coagulation is a physical process, a physical phenomenon, that is the rapid mixing, and the flocculation is a chemical process. The two adding two gives the physico-chemical process. So physical process, what we are seeing by rapid mixing, that destabilization is being going to happen. First we see the distance particle, the repulsive force, the distance, they make them the distance apart. After that, the destabilization of the colloids taken place and they come too close to each other due to rapid mixing and flocculation. They have prepared flocks and settled down, that you have seen. Now, the coagulation flocculation mechanism of action is adsorption and charge neutralization. That means the negative charge is surrounded by the positive charge. Suppose we are adding the aluminum sulfate on alum is the classic example of the coagulant. Now, what is aluminum 3 plus? That is the positive ion. So, negative charge particle with cloud of counter ions, that is the positive charge particles, and become neutralized. And if the particles are neutralized with no double layer, then it will make a flock and settle down. Now, coagulation flocculation mechanism of action. This is the thing, the same thing I am going to show you in detail, that how it makes the polymer, that means the coagulant, the polymer, polyelectrolyte is a classic example of coagulant, that is the polymer. It is adding to add particle and it is destabilize the particle and flock formation, and how it is flock formation, that in pictorial diagram I have tried to show you. So the entrapment of a participant, sweep flock particle formation, Al2SO4O3 becomes the neutral. So a cloud formation is there, And once the cloud formation is there, the colloids are enmeshed. Okay, this is the thing. So this is the charge neutralization, swift coagulation, bridging, and flash flocculation finally precipitated form. So destabilization, the initiation, first the destabilization, then finally the precipitation form after flock formation. This is the mechanism action of the combination of the process of coagulation flocculation. Coagulation is the physical process, flocculation is the chemical process, the combination of two is the physicochemical process. Now, the selection of the coagulant is very, very important, and the dosage of the coagulant, because more the dosage of coagulant doesn't mean the water will be more clear, because there is the optimum dosage of coagulant that has to be found out. That will be discussed in that next class, next lecture, because this will be in continuation in my 15 lectures of the next class, where I will discuss what will be the coagulant used in the coagulation population process, what will be the importance of the optimum dose of coagulation. That in details the coagulation process will be discussed in the 15 lecture, that is the next class. So it will be in continuation of the next class also. So I will close it a day. I will post this lecture in my Google Classroom. Kindly go to the lectures. Whatever the discussion has been taken place, the numerical sums on the sedimentation tank and the concept area of the coagulation population, the mechanism system part only we have discussed. Kindly go through this system. We will definitely meet in the online live classes for one-to-one interaction for further clarification. So I'll close it a day, and again I'll be meeting in the 15th lecture. So thank you all. Have a nice day.